lately it's been happening quite often. Happened yesterday, the day before yesterday. We've had a couple murders over there. The city of Indianapolis is growing, so the crime here is growing. I think based on this per capita, meaning the size of the population and how many people are here, it's probably no worse than any other city. But it's kind of basic America there, you know. We got crime growing in the whole country, and it's growing here as well. That's the commander. He's not on the street. And some of these are detectives, but these guys here are on the streets. I can't say that I get scared anymore. I've been doing this for 20 years now. I think if I got scared, it's probably time to quit, you know? 518, 564. I'm on a McDonald's parking lot, 38th in Illinois. What's your 20? Saturday, it was a shooting here. We had some guys engaged in a shootout between two cars, and one of the guys in the car unfortunately got hit and killed. It started here. A lot of crime in Germany. In the United States, we got our share of crime, yeah. It's kind of cool. He's doing a documentary.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
On law enforcement or sergeants?
He's kind of just talking to American people.
Oh.
Yeah. I qualify for that. Yeah. Go figure. How much was your damage? He tore up his car the other day.
$1,500. $1,500. That's not too bad. I was in a vehicle pursuit, and the suspect began to turn eastbound on the street, then attempted to do a full U-turn in front of me, and we collided. He was fine enough that he hopped out his passenger door window and took off running. So I chased him for a while. He jumped some fences, and then we set up a perimeter, and our K9 came in and they located him.
Our canines are dogs.
Yeah.
And they found him. That was enough paperwork to last me a whole week in that. I got to do paperwork because he tore up the car, and he hit the other guy, and the other guy's car hit a house. And, well, that car is given to us when we have an accident in these. So he likes that car, but he's going to get his car back, which is just like this one, has the lights and everything on it. It's Monday, and typically in America, Monday is the first day of work, and there's not a whole lot of crime going on Monday.
So all the criminals are going to work?
No, this is their day off. A lot of people in America don't like the police. When they need you, they'll call you. They want you there then. But if they don't call you, they have absolutely no need for you, and they don't like you. Here in America, you know, you could pretty much, if you want whatever you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you could actually do it, you know. I like that opportunity, you know. There is a multitude of different people here. You got different races of people, different class. I like that, you know. We just don't have we're not a one class or one race society. You remember when I told you some of the neighborhoods had problems with drugs and crime and murder? That's where we're at now. A lot of times they're shooting guns over here and selling drugs. And, you know, that's pretty disturbing to the people who are actually working and trying to go to work in the morning, and their kids are in the house. Is that your car? You conducting business here? Okay. put your camera down. Now listen, man.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't trying to come down on you hard, but when I'm dealing with multiple people, and I don't know if they're armed or anything, I can't concentrate on what you were saying. That's why I kept telling you,
Okay.
stay back and let me do my thing.
Okay.
Because I'm outnumbered at that time. Now, I don't know those cats.
I love you, bro.
Take it easy.
Okay.
You be careful, man. Start eating. You look skinny. He's on drugs. Crack. Big problem in America. Crack cocaine. You guys okay?
Hi, sweetie. Yeah, we okay.
Everybody all right?
Yep, we're fine.
This the girl hanging out.
All right, ladies.
Take us out.
That drug makes you crazy. What's going on, man?
What's going on, buddy?
It's an episode of Cops.
How's it going?
I'm pretty well. How about yourself?
All right. Hadn't seen you in church in a while, man.
No, I'm always gonna say the same thing to you.
I know. I just beat you to the punch.
Are you doing an episode of Cops?
No, this brother here is from Germany. He's actually doing a documentary film. He's not doing no cops.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Hold on. You got the wrong police officer in the car with you. What up, buddy? How you doing?
What's going on?
Jump on the hood for you.
Oh no, we don't want. If I'm in it, I don't want all that activity.
I'm actually doing security for them for a little bit, but I'm ready to go home because
You
we're
be
done.
careful,
The inside's
man.
closed up and everything. Huh?
Be careful.
Oh, I am. Now, just so happened the night of that shooting, I was not here.
Well, I'm glad of that
Me
because
too.
you know what? They weren't going to stop because you were here.
No, so no.
That's that
And the thing
shooting I was
about it
telling
the
you
funniest thing
about.
about it, that guy had been up here 4 hours prior to the shooting.
Doing
So he'd
what?
been here, came in, because it was about 9 o'clock. He came in McDonald's, got his food and everything. They sat out here to park. Man, this parking lot was fat.
I rode by here and there was like 100,000
Oh, yeah, it was
motorcycles
100,000
in
kids out
here and
here.
everything.
They jumped in the car and they left because he was in that white Cadillac. Got in the car and left. I guess about 2 o'clock. He came back. And whoever he had the beef with prior to that,
Shot
they
him.
shot him. Go ahead. Yep.
All right.
See you later.
See you.
Code 372 information, reckless driver, 86 in Westfield, eastbound 86, subject driving a red 44, and swerving uncontrollably, not being followed. Information at 2340. Well, 11 control. Go ahead. Just so the wagon knows, we're in the alley just west. I put it in the red wagon 31, 3400 North Illinois Alley West.
Go home. Well, eat it at home. You're sitting in the alleyway eating. Don't argue with me. Don't come over here. Back up. Go home. Grab your package. Go home. Now, I don't want to hear any more talk. Okay. Grab your stuff and go.
3570, you might want to watch that bag. He's in there. We just got to find him. Okay.
North 234 North 5.
What's the problem?
Adam
No,
347, Adam
I'm
345,
lost.
Adam 347, and
I need to get to
345.
116th and
I'll play
Alstonville.
it safe.
Really?
Far away.
Inside his house.
Yeah. Well, not very far away. 100 and what?
160.
Okay. Don't worry. You're not that far. It's not that bad. Get your baby in your car. And I'm going to get you toward Allisonville. Okay?
Yeah?
Yeah. Come on.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Súbete al carro y ponte el cinturón.
She knew she was in a bad neighborhood. She was lost. She was frustrated because she couldn't find her way home. And by the way she ran back to her car, she knew she was in a bad neighborhood. So it isn't smart to get out in a neighborhood with your child like that and be lost. You never had to think that way, huh? Where are you from? I just find that interesting. I guarantee you, that if I was to put you out over there and let you walk over there, it'd be a good chance that you would probably be a victim of a crime shortly afterwards. Over there is drugs. So people want to continue to feed that drug problem by the things that you have available to you. They're going to get it one way or the other. A lot of cities have that. You have the good areas, then you have the bad areas. The drugs moving into a community is the worst thing that could ever happen. She's happy now, isn't she?
She doesn't have a
Don't have a lights on, poor thing. Well, I got her halfway home. We have people killing family members over, you know, money or trying to get stuff for crack. It's a horrible addiction. You have people out here selling their bodies and doing all kind of stuff to get a fix on that. It's horrible. It's horrible. It was cocaine. Before that, it was marijuana. I mean, it's always a drug. There's always a drug out there, you know. And now there's something worse than crack out there now. And, it's called methamphetamines. Want to know where meth came from? It is said that during the First World War, meth was created by German scientists to enable the troops to fight without sleep. It was brought to America. At some point, it actually disappeared. It stopped using it for whatever reason. And then it resurfaced again. It resurfaced again through the biker gangs, the motorcycle gangs. They started bringing methamphetamines back. It's stuff that you could pretty much make in your own kitchen. The effects of it is far worse than crack. Far worse than crack. People get superhuman strength from this stuff. You know, there's been times where we're arresting like a 12 or 13-year-old. It takes 8 or 10 of us to arrest this person on this stuff. And it's becoming such a popular drug because it doesn't cost anything. You know, you can make crack for like, you know, 20, 30 bucks. You can start making crack. You get the right products. That is now becoming a problem in epidemic stages in America with drugs. It's absolutely scary. There's one case where the police were called to a McDonald's on someone on that drug. He said, "You can't hurt me," and he takes his hands and he sticks it in the fry grease. Pulls him right out. The police had to fight and struggle with him to get him in handcuffs. You know, a lot of the guys carry the taser stingers, which is the gun that shoots out the probes that go into people, and it's immobilize them. I mean, that weapon is used so we wouldn't have to shoot you. You know, it's a good weapon. I've actually seen field footage where it knocked down bulls, where a bull would fall to the ground and be immobilized. I have seen and witnessed myself people on that methamphetamines being shot by tasers, and they just pull the probes out. No, I've seen that on this job. And the gun turned out to be stolen too. And there are much more better people than there are bad people in this community. I could take you down on the south side of the city in an all-white community where there's drugs and everything else. And then I could take you to other neighborhoods where there are black neighborhoods and they're excellent. The neighborhood I live in is predominantly black, but it's nothing like this. We don't have a festering drug problem in my neighborhood. Media here, it can be very harsh on the minorities. You see a lot of shows on TV and it's crime, and you know, they have the blacks being the bad people. Where that comes from? There is no money in showing anything that's good, but there's a lot of money made when you show that's bad in people. If you went to a movie and they showed you, the movie was called How the Flowers Grow, and it was about flowers, there wouldn't be any money made on that movie, would it? But if they had 4 or 5 guys in there robbing the bank and shooting up the neighborhood, and everybody be flocking to the movies to see it. That's strange. Racism is in everything, man. It's in the media. It's on the police force. It's in politics, in education. I went to a university here in Indiana, down in Terre Haute. And Terre Haute is known as one of the major areas where the Ku Klux Klan originated. Now, I had never experienced overt racism until I was in college. I was called out of the N-word, or, you know, had stuff thrown on me for passing cars. And I had came from an all-black society, never experiencing that. So when I got out of college, I felt a sigh of relief because I came to a city that had multiple cultures here. But you gotta know, you can't get comfortable and think that it isn't racism here, because you'll get comfortable and then something will happen to you and you realize that racism still exists, and you can become a victim of that. I'm gonna show you something. When I first came on this job 20 years ago, this was my area. Look, these are very beautiful homes. The value of these homes are skyrocketing upward. It's constantly getting better. When I first came over here, these homes here looked nothing like they do over here now. This was 10 times worse than it is over there. Between $300,000 to $500,000. 15 years ago, about right up in here, I was on a police run. All this was totally dilapidated. And we were rendering assistance to a person who had been shot. And he clearly was not in good shape. We were giving him CPR, and the people wanted him not to be helped, so they started shooting at us. So we had to leave. Fortunately, he didn't live. This whole area was just like that. What happened in the last 10 years, gentrification. These homes were owned by all blacks at first. You had whites move in, and the blacks were bought out of the properties, and they fixed these homes up. I could let you out on this street and you could walk clear down here and nothing would ever happen to you. I wouldn't be worried about you. But that's just within 10 to 15 years. Hundreds of homes in one little area have been beautified. Absolutely beautiful. I would like to live here now. If you'd asked me that 10 years ago, I'd have told you, are you out of your mind? There's no way I would live over here. But look how beautiful these homes are now. Gentrification. This is the inner city area. Our downtown area has been getting a new facelift over the past 15 years as well. All these people pretty much work in the downtown area. Buy a beautiful home here. You don't have to travel from the suburban area where all these people probably came from originally. They lived 20, 30 miles out. This area has changed its face maybe over the past century, maybe 3 or 4 times. It's gone back and forth. The people who lived here are now moving out in the suburban areas. They're the ones who's got to travel to get back in the city now. And these beautiful homes they gave up for nothing. I remember I used to find bodies in these houses. My first DOA was right up the street here. Dead on arrival homicide investigation. Quiet. Used to be gunfire all the time. I wouldn't ride through here this slow. We would fly through here because they would shoot at the police. Wow. A white picket fence. Go figure. In America, we're taking baby steps. I mean, my great-grandmother was a slave. Even though that's over 100 years ago, some of that mentality is still enriched in America. The sidewalks are clean. Now, the individual homeowner doesn't get out there and make the sidewalk nice. That's the city. You know, in essence, the city pays more attention to where the money is. That's how it is.
So would you have a problem there if you go there and to buy a house?
If I would?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd be met with some difficulties. The people would first probably stereotype you and believe because you are black, you probably don't belong there or you're going to create some problems. But when they get to know you, things may be improved.
But if you can't buy a house in the first place, then you can never approve it.
Right. And that you run into that kind of issue too. You know what the joke is? What is it? Behind every bush there's a war. I don't think anybody voted for him, but I think he won. He somehow won that election. The last 2 of them miraculously. I mean, God, man, this guy is. He's all off the map on what we should be doing, you know? You know, right after 9/11, you know, God, I was pissed, you know? And I was like, let's go kick Osama bin Laden's ass. But, you gotta tell me, how did we end up in Iraq? You know? You know, I got family and friends in the military, you know. I served in the military. And here we are now, over in this country, man. These kids are getting killed every day. The body count's getting higher. And I think it's because a man's pride has overridden his ability to say, okay, we need to stop. Congresswoman Julia Carson said it right. The only weapon of mass destruction is right there in Washington, D.C. I want to see that thing end. You know, I lived through that Vietnam era, man, and I prayed because my brother was about to go. Deja vu. Here I am praying just as hard now, you know, so my nephew doesn't get killed over there. My nephew's in the Marine Corps, you know, and, you know, he looked at me because I was in the Marine Corps. He's like, you know, when he went years ago, you know, when he joined, he's like proud of his uncle, you know, and, hey, you served. And I was like, yeah, you know, it was a great opportunity, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm kind of hating that he looked up to me to go in there, you know, because there's a chance of him getting killed now. To me, it isn't for the right reasons, you know. There's times when their sacrifices have to be made, but this isn't one. Florian, I'm gonna get out and look at your bike.
What do you want to say about BMW motorbikes?
They're nice and quiet. Hey, Germany makes a good motor. It's like, it's a good motorcycle, but it ain't a Harley.